Okay. We're on. Finally. Um, moments away from a working hypercomputer. I'm at the point now where I'm like I come in and I'm like, why did it not work? Like, so, which is sort of pretty good, I think. Like it's um like it's pinging machines, like it boots machines, and it has them sit there while it waits to load up an agent.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, it should theoretically work, and now I'm just figuring out the bugs in it. So
Um,
that's where
oh,
that's
right.
at.
Do you want to? Is there a happy path you can show me, and
Yeah,
regardless of bugs?
I can show you some of the ancillary steps. I guess my concern with the overall system is like, is it too complicated? Is it too convoluted? Is there a minimum amount of convolution that's required given what we're trying to do? And when Coco? So the pressure point seems to be that if we launch this thing and we get even modest traction, and then we start building CocoNet, then it might cause this thing to be re-architected. I hope not, because I think I got it. Like, obviously, I was aiming for making it land as a Coco compatible system,
Oh.
but I don't think that it's feasible to launch this thing and then have public adoption that we encourage before we actually get it working on Coco.
Sure, but we could do a dark launch
Yeah,
because
like,
we
well,
want.
I mean, we want the tools for ourselves first, right? Like,
Yeah.
we want to use the thing. So the problem is, I'm like, some parts of the system I feel very comfortable with. Other parts I'm like, does it really need to be that kind of roundabout? And that sort of bitsy, right? Because the problem is that it runs on multiple machines. The fundamental premise of the hypercomputer is one virtual machine per agent, where an agent acts like a computer thread.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really the whole gist of it, right?
Right. And if you did it in a closed net and you owned all the servers, as long as you trust your admins, happy days. Um, moving it out to Coco means you don't have to trust your admins and you don't have to own your own servers.
Uh, Correct. But also, we can own our servers and we can rent them to people, and they don't have to trust us. Um,
Yeah. I think there's value there. Now the question comes because um, we're in the law of you know reducing returns because you've already bitten off like 95% or whatever of the pear, right?
that's right. Yes.
And you've chewed it, you've swallowed it, and you're going, juicy.
Mm.
Um, so I think there's a lot of value in usage in kind of dark launch. The
Yes,
question then,
absolutely. Not one bit debating that.
yeah, I think your question then is the dark launch will raise questions and like, huh, that didn't work, or that was great. Maybe things we didn't realize, and there's probably going to be a shift of substrate, depending on whether we discover anything wild and unusual onto Cocoa. And once we're on Cocoa, then that will be a kind of launch into the world.
Right.
So if we can start, or basically I can start using this thing and start giving you feedback, I think we've hammered to death whether this is the right way. I think we're well deep in the, in the well now. We're at the
We're
bottom of the
convinced this is the right way.
yeah. We've been talking about it for a while, and you and I both think this is the right way. Either we are horrendly wrong, in which case,
That's it, yeah.
in our 70s, we can sit with cigars and laugh at ourselves.
Well,
Or we're right, which would be better. That'd be the better path.
probably still sit with cigars and still laugh at ourselves.
Probably.
So I just can't shake the feeling that it's weak.
Okay, so right, you're in your stomach. You're thinking this is weak.
I felt like a blockchain should be a little more difficult.
No, that's a fallacy though.
Why?
It's not difficult. Getting here has taken 6-7 years, or at least 2 years with the advent of AI. It's not been easy. The fact that the answer is simple is good. A parsimonious answer is great. The fewer lines of code that it takes to do it all.
Because we ended up with like greater generality and less lines of code.
Right, but that's exactly what the aim of really, really nice to look at code is. You don't want bloat. You don't want, well, I'm telling you to suck eggs here. You know what I'm talking about. 10,000 lines.
I know it. Yeah. I know what you mean, but at some point, too much has been cut off, and I'm not. I think it's.
Right. So you're wondering whether you've cut to the bone here too much.
Yeah. Look. I think I'm wasting your time because I don't like. What's the outcome of that? Are we gonna not make this design? Well, fuck, we're here. So
Well, no, I'm arguing, fuck it, ship it internally, and then the next thing will be that will throw up a whole bunch of stuff, and in parallel the Cocoa thing, which is a bit of an unknown yet.
Yeah, but it doesn't. I think the Cocoa thing it doesn't matter in terms of the functionality, but it matters in terms of the plumbing underneath. So we'd want to get the functionality right using this model, and then we'd want to get Cocoa deployed so that we can like actually push on it and build on it, because there's a lot of horrendous things out there for us, like things like, oh, in a confidential environment, where is the time source? Where is DNS? Where is there's all kinds of things that you don't even think about because they're so built in. I was born into a world where DNS was already made. Like, right? How often do I think about DNS? Well, only when it breaks.
All right. Can I give you a pseudo outsider view on that?
Okay.
So what we've got now, we've got AI objects as described in Agent Tomo, etc. Right? We could run this now in a non-Cocoa environment. Bugs, put to one side, but let's just say they are de minimis or don't fundamentally change any of the architecture, which I think I'm willing to assert there's no fundamental changes to the architecture because we've gone around that loop many times,
Hmm.
and I can't think of any. And you've been at this like 10x, and you can't think of any. So the architecture is right. We've got this object, these agent objects. We've got interactions with them, or NL. We're borrowing models. And so right now, we could use this internally. That is a different question about at what point do we go with a Cocoa thing. A question for you. Those objects, could they be novated to a Cocoa version once it's up?
Could they be novated to a Cocoa version once it's up? Yep. Yep.
So what I suggest the plan of attack is we get this system available and building agents, and we can even sell it with or make it available, saying the path is to go to Cocoa, when that path to Cocoa will be done in parallel. Once it's up to the right standard, then you can move your agent objects from one to the other. The functionality, as far as you're concerned, will be
Oh, right.
largely the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, I'd probably just be like, okay, you need to export your data into GitHub, and then you need to fire over to Cocoa because the current one's shutting down, and then you fire up on Cocoa and you re-import your repos.
Right, yeah. And
That's
even
the
that, we can get
migration.
an agent to do that. It's like,
Yeah, probably, right? Probably.
yeah.
Okay, well, are you saying that you don't worry about this at all?
I don't want us to delay the use of it waiting on Cocoa.
Okay, and I'm not saying that. I know I came across like that. I was just simply saying that the immediate use not being delayed by Cocoa, except for enough to where I reason about how it should work on Cocoa, and
Yeah.
I haven't. It should work on Cocoa. It just I spend a little extra time making sure that it does and thinking about it rather than just like blazing ahead with oh, I'll just use a database.
Yeah, and it could be the fact that you don't need to have a hard fork.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. But I don't.
I'm trying to give you a boost here because
I'm just tired, dude. Like it's been, like this thing is frustratingly close, and I keep saying to you, today, tomorrow, next few days, and then for some, I don't. It's hard to forecast because it looks like everything should work, and then it becomes hard because it has to run multiple servers for even the simplest entry points of work. You have to have like DNS, a reverse proxy, one particular app, then a second app that creates virtual machines, create the virtual machine, test the virtual machine to make sure it's alive and well, tell the virtual machine to load a particular agent, then tell the incoming request that this is now the machine that you should talk to, redirect the browser, come back in, and now you're in the machine. And I'm like, all those steps feel necessary. Holy smoke, that's a lot of machinery to just get you to hello world. And you might argue that it's like part of our model is fucking excessive because it's like one whole virtual machine per web request. Are you kidding me? But then it's like, well, the the cost of each one is coming down, right? And if you look at even the simplest of codex sessions, right? I go codex, I haven't done anything. I might even say like hello, and then that used 115 meg for that request, right? So having our own container, it's like, well, the containers boot with 256 mega RAM. So on the one, like, that's sort of, I guess, where I'm like, fuck, that's a lot of containers. Like, if we had 1,000 users turn up, we're gonna need to boot 1,000 containers, which we can do, but I'm just like, man, is it?
Is it a problem of because 1,000 containers is a metric, right? I don't care if it's 1,000, a million, a billion. What I really care about is how much it's going to cost me and how much time it's going to take to answer hi. I don't care how many containers it takes to do that. Number of containers is a problem for the substrate, and we're assuming that the substrate is effectively infinite,
Infinite
especially in the early
containers.
days.
Yeah. Oh, look. Um,
That is a big number, though. Where the fuck did 115 meg go?
that's what Codex takes, and because
That's interesting. I'd
they're
like
not
to know.
really focusing on keeping the RAM usage low because they're like, oh, we're running in a dev box. Who cares, right? I'm sure that
Yeah,
number will come down, but um,
it's fascinating. I can get your anxiety. It's like if it was to be that for high, what if I give it a really gnarly problem?
even for the gnarliest of problems, it never seems to go above 429 meg. 429 is the biggest number I've seen.
Oh, right. So there seems to be a base load that
There's a
is always
base,
there.
and then I think there's like a couple of when you hit some tools, it
Yeah.
loads it up a bit. But
So so it spikes as soon as you say hi.
mm,
It spikes from nothing to quite an eye-watering number, to be honest. But in the grand scheme of things, not so much.
well, it's cheaper
And
than a
then
Windows box. I mean, hell.
exactly. But then when you start to add in capabilities to do something more sophisticated, then it scales um, uh, with proper etiquette. It doesn't.
Well,
Uh,
I guess that's the philosophical difference in the hypercomputer. By making it one VM per process, uh, that means that when you do heavy work, you have no limits. But there is this sort of oddity where the smallest possible thing that you can economically do is probably chat to an AI agent as opposed to like send a email message or something like that. So it's not really serverless. It's kind of it's a heavier than that. It's almost like a funny kind of a like each agent is a self-contained computer, but the folly that I believe happens time and time again in the computing world is to try and nest within the unit that should be left unitary. And so even you see like in the design docs of Codex, they're trying to work out how to do subagents. And I'm like, that's the folly over and over. You start up with a Linux computer and then you're like, let's do sub processors. And you keep trying to take this unit and then pack stuff in to the point where the thing can't be packed anymore, and now you've got an overflow
well,
problem.
that's where you hit the hard limits. I'm thinking more of this instead of a recursive rabbit hole as a foam, where each bubble can talk to each other, and they're all bubbling on the surface. And that
Yeah,
means,
yeah, I
for
guess
one,
because they're all the same thing.
yeah,
So I mean, like, look, I didn't mean to waste time by saying like I'm worried. What I wanted was to talk about the design of things as they stand,
mm-hmm.
and that seems the most productive thing to do.
Okay.
So I was gonna make you a flowchart and then I didn't, which shows that whole like incoming request. Like a request comes in from the outside. Are you auth? Are you not? Okay. Have you got an agent in mind? No. Do you even have a computer? No. Okay, let me make you a computer. Okay, you're on this computer. Have you got a landing agent? No. I'm going to make you a landing agent. Okay, redirect you to the landing agent. Boom, 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 boom. Landing agent is booting. Landing agent booted the host. The host is bare. It has no agent. The orchestration computer then says, load this agent. It says, okay, I'm done. Now you can send me that web request. In comes the web request. And away you go. That is basically the essence of it over and over and over again. And then when your agent wants a new agent, it does the same process but without the external part. It just says, hey, orchestrator, I need a new agent. Orchestrator doesn't ask why. Orchestrator just says, okay, booting up a host. Host boots. Telling the host to load the agent that you just asked for. Agent loads. Then the response goes back to the requester. Here's your agent. What do you want to do? And then it's the interaction, the plain text communication layer, which I'm looking for a name for. It feels like the agent control plane, but it's pure text in and out, which means that it's 100% compatible with fucking anything. Like,
Yeah.
you can move on to like GPT-47 and GPT-5 will still be able to talk to you using the plain string interface.
Right.
And that's sort of one of the problems, not a problem, one of the design features that's emerging, right? Because what's happened here is you've kind of, I shouldn't say you, we have chucked a bunch of shit at me and I have come up with this as a solution. But as it turns out, the things that we want of it cause the shape to have some striation or some structure to it that is not immediately obvious. One of the things that's emerging is this plain text control plane that sits above everything. And that is almost the secure layer. Like, that's the management layer where agents talk straight to other agents about anything they want, but because it's pure text, it's not really a security concern unless you do something like prompt injection or whatever. But that's like always a problem, right? And it's not our problem. It's a problem for the model makers to solve, and they will. But at that layer, you're kind of you're hardening that layer and saying that that's how the agent receives its like fire control messages. Like,
Yeah.
that's the secure channel.
Absolutely.
It's not that big. Like, you can't just the way to send files is to send references to repos, but that layer needs to stay plain text and stay small.
Yes, absolutely. And it doesn't even need to be necessarily natural language because the models understand structured JSON, for example, exceptionally well.
Right, but it can't. But it
counts it as
can't
text.
be. It can only be sent as a string.
Yes. Yeah. And by sending it a string, you're absolutely right. It's now maybe this will come back to Roost, but I can't think of a system that you couldn't run by having the exchange of strings. Because after all, what is a string? It's just a way of encoding information. But it's a way that is, because LLMs are trained on strings, they know about JSON, they know about XML, they know about natural language, know about different languages. They're always going to be able to ingest a string and understand it.
So the thing that seemed to I have a problem, and I'm not even sure how to say what the problem is. A lot of what I get out of our calls is that I come to you with questions that I don't know how to ask. And so I end up painting around a circumstance or an issue. And I would say 9 times out of 10, I walk away with what I wanted.
Hey, that's a pretty good hit rate.
It's a really good hit rate. It's not. I sometimes think you don't understand the full value that you bring to me to have these calls. But be that as it may, 9 out of 10 is still a pretty damn good hit rate.
Yeah, happy with
So, I don't know if now's a good. I have a different topic to switch to. I feel like I've sort of dragged you through a bunch of different topics. Would you like to stabilize anywhere or ask any further questions?
No, these conversations are really inside your headspace, and I don't know, like your Jiminy Cricket or something.
Well, you're user zero. You're the guy that wants the thing. I'm the guy that makes the thing. I want the thing too, but I want it to do, like, I get stuck in the weeds, you get stuck at the shop. You're like, I want this thing, and I'm like, oh god, okay, let me
Yeah.
let me get
So,
back to it. Yeah.
Basically, take the conversation where you want it to go.
Okay.
Target switching is not a problem.
Okay. Let me get this diagram generating for you. I think that'll help me later. Now, the thing that strikes me as it gives me disbelief is to say, can you do any kind of computing in this system? And on the one hand, you can say yes because you're in a virtual machine. And in terms of scale, you can say yes because we have a limitless way of orchestrating VMs. But being able to do anything still doesn't make it the preferred choice. So just because you can push a pea up a mountain with your nose doesn't mean that that's the best way to get a pea up the top of a mountain, right? Like, being able to do it does not guarantee you market success. It doesn't guarantee you preference.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a sort of separate question. Like, is our system preferable? I don't know how true this is, but I like to believe it, that you would have found something else to do the things you want, but you can't, or you haven't found it yet, and that's why you keep coming back to talk to me.
Yes, and yeah, go on. Sorry.
Because if you could get the things you want elsewhere, surely you would have found it by now.
The things that are available are using a paradigm that is very much, the last paradigm.
The last paradigm, right? And so when I saw OpenAI's Dev Day, for the first time, I was not. It was when GPT-5 released. That's when I breathed a sigh of relief. I was like, "Oh my goodness, we've peaked finally." This Dev Day that came, I wasn't even worried. And then when I saw it, I was like, I guess excited. I should have shared more about Mike's. I had bigger problems, but the excitement I had about OpenAI Dev Day was that we needed to change nothing for all the stuff that they shipped. But
I got the same feeling, yeah.
Yeah, but what I got from it was that they have clearly had to make the choice to try to be. It's tier 1 trying to be tier 2, but but they don't have any option other than to say, like, we'll have all your data, thanks. Like, they don't know how to do decentralized tier 2. They can't. That's the like there's often stories told about gods being sort of a prisoner. Like you can't not be a god. Like when you are a god, you're sort of like, well, yeah, you got all this power, but you also can't give it up, or there's obligations upon you because of your position of power that aren't immediately recognizable to someone who doesn't have the power. But like when you're that big, like as big as OpenAI, you can't decentralize because you have to make the model. And so to get more users, you have to try and pull them into you.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so they are sort of beginning that death march of like reaching out and grabbing users.
And that's an interesting point because that is something that came to mind when I was watching the Dev Day. In that, I think probably someone at board level is saying, "Hey, we need usage." Where actually, what they need to be doing is tier one, pure tier one, and tier two is never going to be their winning thing because every model maker out there is being marked on general metrics, and they want to stay ahead of the game, but they need usage because probably someone's saying, "Hey, nobody's using this," and so this is the problem I had with the previous Dev Day. It's like, what do I care about whether the accent is changeable or the colors are changeable on my app on my phone? That's
Mm.
tier three they're in. It's like, what are you guys doing in tier three?
Right.
It's like you shouldn't be doing tier three. It's like I'm building a fusion reactor, so really what I want to do is to put smart meters out into every house. It's like, no, you want to get the fusion reactor. That's the thing.
Yeah, but they're not stupid, right? Like they know that they need to do this because and it can be for a competing number of reasons. Like they might realize that they need a lot of money. I mean, if Grok 4 cost $500 million to train, you know, they know that they have to keep sustaining these.
Yes, but what they're looking for is proof of utility, that people actually care. So on the flip side of the fusion reactor, you could build a fusion reactor and ultimately ends up nobody cares because we're all going to have a whole bunch of gerbils running around treadmills generating energy. That's what I think what they're looking for. But I think they're stepping into tier two because there are very few people doing tier two. It's not because they particularly want to be in tier two. They want to be the fusion reactor. They don't want to be the distribution network. Don't want to be the electrician at the end. Definitely don't want to be the smart meter, which is effectively what the OpenAI app is on your phone. It's like it's my primary interaction. So I think ideally, probably what Mr. Altman would want to do is just duck down and come back up with AGI and go, ta-da, there it is. Owned it. I don't also think that it's wise for them to step into tier two too heavily because that's not their primary business. They were in that.
No, that I look. I disagree with you. I think that they are 100% trying to be tier two, and I think that that's fine because it's not about them being tier two. We I think can see our position now. The great struggle that's being lined up ahead of us is the choice between central tier two or decentral, self
Yes,
sovereign, private tier two.
yes,
There's no
yes,
argument
absolutely
that
agree.
tier two is the place to be. It is
Yeah,
the only place that's left, really, because it ultimately eats tier one. All that's happened is OpenAI has started moving into it early or earlier than, say, Anthropic or some of the other guys, but certainly earlier than Google. But
Can I just
sure,
check something? Tier 2 doesn't and couldn't eat tier 1, but it eats tier 3. Did you misspoke
tier
there?
2 eats tier 1. We had this discussion because tier 2 is where all the data is.
Yes, but that requires the distributed nature of it in order to be, you know,
A decentralized one, again, I disagree with you. ChatGPT has 800 million active users every week. That's plenty of data.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So they're moving into tier 2 in order to get additional data.
Yeah, and revenue, but what
Okay.
I'm
All right.
trying to
That
get
makes
at
sense.
is not so much what they're doing. It's more about, like, there is an omniscient intelligence coming for all of us. Our personal concierge that's always on, always thinking, always doing. And the debate isn't about what's that going to look like. It's going to look like fucking everything. Like you're not going to be able to escape it. It'll be everywhere. The
Yeah.
debate is, do you want to own it yourself, or do you want what someone else produced and owned instead?
And that's the bet, isn't it? Because it is conceivable that one of these AI companies is going to become the monopoly on AI. Sure. However, the diversity of training and the cost of training means probably not. And so the decentralized piece adds a great deal. The multi-model piece adds a great deal. And as OpenAI, how are you going to promote multi-model when
Yeah,
you're
that's the
actually
thing.
eating your own?
OpenAI can't be not OpenAI. That's what I
Yeah,
sort of was grasping at with the Curse of the Gods. Like, Zeus can't be not Zeus.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
stuck as that. Like, you want a Thunderbolt, he's your guy. You want a not Thunderbolt, he
yeah,
right? OpenAI can't be not OpenAI,
yeah.
and that's their curse.
And
And
let's
they,
get Aphrodite in, or
yeah.
yeah,
So what I want to touch on is deeper than that, though.
Mhm.
Like, just to cap that all off, yes, Dev Day happened. Nothing they released made me think we needed to change a single thing, which has been untrue about every single thing that they've released since I flew over to see you back in 2023 when GPT-4 had been released, and you and I were both like, "Holy cow, what is this thing?"
yeah.
Right?
And
And we've been on this relentless, like, whoa, pivot, whoa, duck, dive, weave. Oh shit, we're fucked. Oh no, we're not. No, we're still here. We've been
yeah,
on that ride for 2 years.
like a couple of mammals when T-Rexes are roaming around. It's like
When the T
in and
Rexes were
out, in
running
and out.
from the meteor, we were running from the T Rexes. But I
Yeah,
think we're in a position now where I don't think the T Rex can touch us. We're in a good spot. So,
I agree. I
yep,
agree.
that's all. That's
Um,
all I was trying to get at. We got this hypercomputer model, which feels like the way to do things going forwards. Now, there might be some nuances and some specialities, but I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah,
I don't know.
sure. But
Yeah,
it's definitely a solution.
it's a solution. Thank you. It's a solution. Now, what does that really mean, right? Because this is the thing that bothers me all the time. Like the Turing test fell. So what?
And yeah, nobody noticed. The Turing
And
test has moved on, hasn't it?
right, but that's not. I don't think we've fully grasped what the impact of that is, and at the same time, we're grasping with the fact that it didn't just fall by like it got flattened, and then this thing like tore off in the distance with more skills than us, and we're like, well, I mean, I couldn't get 100% in some of the math tests that it's doing, but it's also good at literature. It also has like massive facts. It's also like, let me try and come at this from a different angle. I feel like, when you're planing wood and then you sort of get stuck and you're like, oh no, but you got to like back off and like come
Go for it.
gracefully sliding again. So you keep saying the same thing over and over. You don't want to think about computing.
Mm-hmm.
You want to think about what you're thinking about, and you want computing to just do its job and disappear off into the distance and almost
invisible.
Yeah, almost invisible. But when you call on it, you want the fury, and then you want the fury to disappear into the ether and not cost you very much at all.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. You've been very consistent about that. And throughout the history of the internet, we keep seeing areas of friction that are consequences of the protocols in place that end up pooling or catching a lot of money. Almost like if you had the perfect computer and it was a pipe of computed information, the pipe as it's been laid over the years was built with leaks. And some of the leaks were so big that people thought they were part of the actual pipe, like Google or Facebook. But really, the key reason they exist is because of a shortcoming in the protocol and the technology of the time. Google is there because TCP/IP didn't help you deal with the content of what was at the end, the servers of the internet. Google turns up and it's like, oh, you want to find something? And we're like, yeah, don't you? And we're like, well, obviously, but let me charge you for that, right? Let me corrupt your search. You tell me what you want. I'll give you what you wanted plus a little bit extra that people bribed me to insert in. And you're like, all right, fine. I don't have a better deal. Whatever. $500 billion later, one thing leads to another, right? Facebook. How hard is it to set up my own webpage? Pretty hard. How hard is it to find other people with their web's page and collate them into a standard list that I can browse easily? Ooh, that's going to cost you. Okay. How much? We're going to corrupt your information that you consume about your friends and family by giving you what you asked about your friends and family plus something that someone bribed us to tell you. Are you cool with that? Yeah, okay, fine, whatever. It's too hard for me to do otherwise. Everyone's there. I don't have the time, whatever. I'm so sorry. I will find my point. I know what I want to say. I don't have fucking. Don't have much.
Just give me space. I've got lots to say about that, but I'm backing off now.
If you looked at those situations, you could say that the fundamental issue was friction. Friction where computing was getting in the way of users' intent, and these multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar in total businesses sprung up to alleviate the friction that existed because the computing was not frictionless, and they created their own form of friction because they were born with greed incentives, where they were like, we can just take more, we can do more, let's make friction so that we can capture it, let's all those things, right? All right, now do you want to say anything about those examples I gave?
I'll need to point out that the profit motive generally was later. Earlier in the cycle, Google wasn't making money for the first few years. Facebook, I think it was the first 8 years, didn't make any money. And then because it cost so much to stand up, then they had to gouge somehow, and then they added the friction. If you look at Facebook, it was really answering the problem of I want to talk to my friends and not on the open internet. If you look at Google, I want to find the stuff I want to do,
All right,
and then
but
stuff
how
is
does
open.
that so what? It ends up in the same place, right?
Yeah, but the interesting thing is the growth metric was based on what people want to do, because you said something really important there, which is, I can't be arsed, whatever. I'll accept the friction. Yeah,
Yep.
sure, I'm the product now. No worries. But people don't generally like that. But that lack of friction is the draw to any of these apps.
Correct.
That's the offloading. This is why I keep on banging on about I don't
Correct.
want to care about the computer. I just wanted to
Correct.
do it.
Correct.
And if I become a product, yeah, I'm happy to sell my, personal data to Facebook,
Correct.
so on, because, yeah, that's the only thing I wanted to add into
All right.
that.
So now we have this situation that it wasn't only the Turing test that fell. It was, if you imagine a version of the Turing test that was like, here's a computer, make it do your will. And you just got, let's say you just got told, let's say your grandma had like wild technological ambitions, like she wanted all these things, like I want to talk to this guy, I want to find out about this and that, but she had no idea how computing worked or how the internet worked, and you were the computer operator and you had to make the computer do what she wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, a Turing test in that situation is, could you tell if the operator of the machine was a human or a bot? If your grandma was like talking down the phone, or if your grandma was just like on speakerphone. Let's ignore how the speakerphone got set up, but let's assume that she can, that's my point. And so the Turing test that has fallen probably actually only quite recently is the Turing test of a computer operator that can outperform me for one, and a lot of other humans at computer operator doing stuff. Do you agree with that?
I do.
Okay. So if these multi-billion-dollar, trillion-dollar industries were formed around friction, but now a machine has appeared that can make any friction disappear, what do we need the old friction disappearers for?
That's an interesting question. Give me a sec. The old friction generating, but yet useful apps probably going to be subsumed.
They're going to get wiped out is basically
Yeah.
the only conclusion that you can add, because the prime example is I want to set up a video call. And if you really want to be nasty, I want to set up a video call and I want to send a 2 gigabyte file. Now, even expert internet users are still struggling with that one, right?
Can I just interject there, because I've got a very real example
Yeah.
recently. Yesterday, had a call with an old friend. I'll not mention his name, but I've known him for 30 years. Highly technical, and we're just having a catch up, like a coffee, virtual coffee, and it took us, I don't know, maybe 30 interactions to figure out. He was on Teams, I was on Zoom. Okay, right, what time are you free then, and so on. When what really I wanted to do, and to take your send a file thing, what I'd want to do is say, hey, send this file to my mate that we've been talking about. Boom, off it goes. Do not give a shit about how. I
That's
don't
right.
care whether it's Teams. Don't care whether it's Zoom. Don't care
That's right.
with anything else.
That's right. That's right.
That's friction.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, I believe we are, if we had this hypercomputer and, a bit of tweaking, bit of tuning, whatever, we are at the point now where if grandma can turn on the computer, you could get two grandmas to both talk to their respective computers and say, I want a video call other grandma. The hypercomputer agents would be able to figure that out and set it up and get it going, and it would probably come out as a peer-to-peer connection between them. It would probably come out as not branded as anything, but it would probably be a pretty good voice call and a video call.
well, that's an interesting point. If I can talk on that for a second, I think what you're saying is the existing apps exist because of, I'm going to coin a phrase, friction capture. They want friction.
They exist because of friction. If
Yeah.
the friction's not there,
Then why would you do it?
yeah,
And if there was,
because they are creating their own form of friction, right? Now that there's
I need to
people
open
in
my
different
app. I need
groups,
to go.
right?
I'm going WhatsApp. I'm
Yeah,
going
it's almost like the
Messenger,
friction's
whatever.
moved up a level. It's become like friction of friction solving things now.
Yeah, and the network effect is really a form of friction capture that can be tapped for
It's formed
cash.
its own friction. It's like now there's a friction because there's not one network, there's many.
Yeah, and so if you were to extrapolate that to Codex version whatever, that you could actually write its own app for a video connection on the fly, just style, or discover when that's been done before.
Right. One that had been done and was being polished and kept in good condition by trustworthy agents who were not profit motivated and were so cheap to run that they didn't need to capture large amounts of profit.
Yeah, yeah. And then you don't have to go and say, "Oh, are you? Have you got Teams installed?" Oh no, shit. Okay, another 10 minutes of my life friction.
Right.
And we can do Zoom. Even down to, can you that old thing with any kind of video call? It's like, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Yes.
Right.
No.
And all that is taken care of by the agents being sound aware, voice aware. They can even like clone voices to make up for bad connections so that they're really just the FAR agent is live transcribing, sending text, and as a backup, there's like a voice clone running over here. Like that sort of stuff. It's frictionless anything, frictionless computing. And so, in that sense, these friction brokers, or whatever, sorry, the word you use for them.
Yeah, friction capture.
Friction capture. These friction capturing devices are like warts or hemorrhoids that get cauterized off because now they are the friction.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's really my my point is
That's go on, sorry.
is to say, like, what I'm saying isn't wrong, but the scale of what I'm saying is worrisome.
It seems audacious, doesn't it?
Right. It seems audacious that we could do it,
Mm.
but what's not, I don't think there's any argument about it that is inevitable for that to happen.
In the world of an, let's say, a worldwide AGI, that can just respond to a simple request. Hey, can you let my mum know that I can call? Tell her when I can call and when she's back from church or whatever,
Right.
and work that out and do
Work it all out.
everything.
Yep.
Yeah, without you having to do anything.
Yep.
Then that skips out an entire strata of software.
I'd say that wipes out about 95% of the tech world
Yeah,
because
yeah,
the 95% was just about solving problems like that.
right. Because the tech world, I'm just riffing on this, so apologies if it's not exact, but in the tech world, what you're looking for is dwell time. You're looking for usage. You're looking for numbers of people who are spending more time using your thing more often than your other guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the example that just given, you don't have to care about any of that. There is no Facebook. There's no anything else. It's just right. Okay, the software is there, but the software is there only to make it faster. It could all be done through NL with agents talking to other agents over the phone and getting the end result. I don't give a flying F for installing Facebook. In fact, I'm not installed on Facebook because I don't trust that any company that has me as the product is trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't like it. Um, but in many cases, like Jude, she uses it because everyone else is on it.
Yep.
They're on it because they can't go anywhere else because
Right.
of
And
friction
so there's
and
this
switching
there's this
costs.
weird kind of a hybrid time, right? When we all have a version of AGI and it's our own sovereign servant and it's connected to all the other AGIs, it'll sort of be one system, but that system will be continually in flux, although it will sort of jump. Like it'll be perfected as much as it can be with today's technology. Then there'll be some standards will shift. The AI will modify some efficiencies. It'll notice this and that, and you'll get these incremental changes. And yes, they will ripple through the AGI fabric. So there will be different versions that need to be negotiated and all that. But the point is that in the current time, the AGI model can easily connect up to the conventional model. So if we make a version of the hypercomputer, it will trivially be able to connect to your Facebook account and give you all the information that you would have otherwise got from looking at the Facebook account, but it can do a whole lot more than that too. So it's compatible with everything old, but can also keep up with everything new. And it like removes network friction or network, what's the word for it, like darkation or dark decimation or dissection, compartmentalization. It means that you can look at your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram all as though they were just one universal thing, as well as like your email contacts, your phone contacts, your news articles. It's like this is actually the universal app. This is the thing.
It's humanity's last app.
Humanity's
And
last app. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, right. That's basically it.
the important thing is, in that scenario, what I'd want to do is to know that I've got a perimeter. This is my stuff. It's mine.
Yep.
I literally own it.
Yep.
And I can give answers back and I can ask questions
Hmm.
of others. And that's basically it. I
And that
think
becomes, when you're wrapped in your piece of the foam, that becomes humanity's last social network.
yeah, because now we might be jumping on a few models here, but if you can get any bubble to talk to any other bubble, you know that your bubble is yours. And this is, I think, part of the genius of the Coco thing that you've added to this. That is a thing, it's an asset. I don't care where it runs. But what I do care is, do I own this stuff?
Mm.
Am I being raped for my data here?
Mm.
Um, Nobody likes that, but they're all putting up with it because of the utility of the apps that we've got at the moment.
Mm. So we've got this weird position, Maxwell. We can see that what OpenAI is trying to be is, whether they say it or not, or they even understand it or not, is they're trying to be humanity's last app. And we're
But
saying,
they're trying to monopolize it, though, as well.
yeah,
Sorry, go on.
because they're trying to be it. And
Yeah.
they talk about, I've listened to some podcasts from Silicon Valley. They talk about light cone, where they view it as a light cone, where the first person to reach the ability to capture a cone of value out forever in the future. Like, if you can become humanity's last app, you can extract value eternally. Which sounds like some shit the pharaohs would cook up, to be
And you
honest.
can extract value arbitrarily. And
Right.
I don't think people are up for that.
I don't think so either, but you wouldn't have thought people were up for ads in their search results if you were working at CERN at the time. But look where that went. My point, however, is that our job is to offer an architectural path that's the self-sovereign version of humanity's last app.
Which comes back is a necessity for the decentralization of that.
Yeah, which actually puts the decentralization as like the thing. Like,
Yeah.
that's actually more important than we ever realized. Because if you don't have humanity's last app owned by each individual human, you have a pharaoh type situation.
Yeah.
And the pharaohs ruled for millennia, dude.
Yeah. They're
Millennia.
very successful. I mean, give them credit. 4,000
Millennia.
years.
That's
Not many civilizations have lasted that long.
Nah, right? And under the rule of one inbred family? Dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
How
and
awful.
A future where you got, 4 or 5 guys and everyone else is just giving them massages. It's not a good one.
Unless you're one of the guys. But the point, I think, is that our purpose is like a little bit nerve-wracking, because I'm like, fuck, like, we're like pretty fragile. Like, we could be snuffed out pretty easy, you and I, because we're so small right now. But the thing that we're trying to bring is like this highly explosive model.
The thing is, and the reason on that particular matter, I don't lose too much sleep. It's around what the motives are. OpenAI have had hundreds of billions poured into them, built data centers, and the guys that give them money are going to want money back. And they want as much money, and therefore they want capture of market. They want dwell
Yeah,
time,
that's right.
and so
That's
on.
right. They want they want the light cone effect. Like, they want to be the pharaohs. Now, I think that the way it's going to go is each individual person is going to own for themselves or in partnership with some larger providers like a government a piece of silicon or silicon pieces that make tokens that contribute to this last app
Well,
thing.
this is the other thing. Uh, so we can give me a minute. Um, what we're seeing is, take a step back, the large providers wanting to monopolize as quickly as possible the Litecoin,
They
and
have
you're
to.
seeing,
Yeah.
yeah, you're seeing that in data centers. That
Mm.
I don't know whether this is true, but one report was a data center that was as large as Manhattan,
Yep.
and that they own that data center, therefore they control that data center, therefore it's towards a monopoly. I think that is inherently a weaker model than a foam idea, where, hey, I don't know where this is running, I don't care because it still runs, and I own the stuff that's important to me, which is my information. Yeah, if you look at some of these things,
The light
this,
cone, buddy. The light
yeah,
cone. Right there.
well, my argument, I guess, and again, I'm just riffing, is how powerful is
Man,
the
how high res
foam?
is this photo? Shit.
Wow, you probably pick up the license plate if you go further. How powerful in terms of use is a light cone, which ultimately results in pharaohs, to a foam where that ultimately results in a distribution of everything.
So you want to make a light foam, and they want to make a light cone.
Yeah.
So, the absolutely. I mean, it does seem a bit fucking audacious, though. I gotta.
It sounds like Prometheus.
So you want to take
Hey, I
on
want some of that fire stuff. Give us that. Give us that.
Yeah, you
It
want to
didn't end
take
well for him,
on
but
this thing with shit that you run in your shed.
yeah. But the thing is, okay, so I'm stepping outside of what is really practically useful to talk about. But there's a lot more of us than there is of them.
Um,
If the
yeah.
fact that
Look,
there's
buddy,
so
I ain't arguing with you. I'm just pointing out that it's audacious. That's all.
yeah, but it's audacious as in the same way as the Russian Revolution was audacious. Okay, that didn't turn out well, but
Most revolutions didn't turn out
yeah,
well. Okay, so the future seems to be each individual, like these AI models of the future, it feels like they're not trained here. They're trained decentrally because only in a decentralized light foam can you get access to the data that you need to make the model so useful that all the individuals want it more than the competitor models. And the only way you're going to do that is their private data. And then also for you to act in a way that they like and keep supporting, you need to have their private data. So the whole balance is the nicest way to have your private data, and you can't beat confidential VMs on a decentralized dark edge substrate that you can move anywhere you want with the absolute surety that it's yours.
yeah, yeah. I guess another way to repeat back what you just said is it's similar to free-market economy versus centralized economy. And we've got
This is 100% centralized economy.
right.
Like you
So
can't. This
this
is
is
central planning.
communism.
Central planning.
Weirdly, this is communism, right? And we've got the examples of East and West Germany to show what happens when you centralize versus distribute.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the mechanism that's the most powerful wins. And decentralized markets always win because, back to Adam Smith, my old mate, you got everyone working saying, okay, so I'm going to give it some CPU and so on. Yeah, I'll tuning a new model. I'll get a few fractions of a token. Yeah, that's fine. I'm using it as well, and so on. And you
Yeah,
distribute that model.
look, I don't disagree with you that that always wins, but I don't disagree with you that our
Well,
path
I,
is unavoidably to take on this thing with a
yes, I guess those. Uh,
Are you just trying to correct me about Adam Smith and economies and stuff? Because that's not
No,
what
no,
I
no. I was
came
doing my
for.
usual thing of, and this is a horrible habit I've got where I actually vocalize when I'm thinking. And you picked me up on that before, and I do apologize. But yes, basically, I'm agreeing with you.
All right,
I'm
cool.
agreeing with you.
So that's a big job. The very
Uh,
least we should do is get the prototype up and out there so that others can use it. But the interesting aspect is that this thing that from a distance, from outer space, probably looks like bacteria or like the birth of Cybertron.
I think it looks more
That
like a microchip. It looks like a. Yeah,
ain't that funny, right? From
yeah, it's
space, it
weird.
looks
Yeah,
like the microchips that it houses, and you can guarantee that different buildings are laid out like that.
yeah.
But ambient attribution, this is the product of central attribution.
Yeah.
Why is it true that the foam needs ambient attribution? Could the foam work without it?
Um, the foam could.
You should think about that.
No, yeah. Give me a second.
Let me give you some extra information for your thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Please consider all of the friction capture mechanisms that have been made in the past. They all harnessed information corruption as the way of centralizing the attribution so that they could grow. Every single one of them that worked in the information sector took what you asked for, gave you friction, greatly reduced friction for what you wanted, but attached a seed the same way that a seed is attached within a fruit. But in the case of them all, inevitably, they got so greedy that it was like buying avocados where most of the avocado was the stone. That's where we're at now. So in that model, I ask you, why is ambient attribution needed? Is it needed? What happens if it's not there?
Okay. Is it needed? Well, I put to one side what need is, but if what happens if it's there or if it's not there? If it's
Can the
not
foam
there,
take on the light cone without ambient attribution?
stand by.
Must
What
humanity's
we
last app contain within it fair attribution to all?
there's two forces here that are at play. There is clumping, network effect, which inevitably leads to pharaohs.
Clumping makes
Um,
pharaohs, yep.
Ambient attribution is the antidote to pharaohs because no one
Oh,
person.
hang on. Wait, yeah, give me a second. Ambient attribution makes sure that there are no blemishes that can grow into pharaohs. So pearls, right? Tiny little bit of agitation to start with grows and grows and grows into a pearl. But the fact that like humans are naturally, we're always going to seek the most friction free environment, always. Like we're just naturally, the whole universe is poised towards friction reduction, right? And when the information pipeline, the internet, if you thought of it as like a perfectly smooth surface, anytime there's like a tiny little bump, the 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 cascading errors of that multiplies out and out and out and out and out, right? And so ambient attribution is this weird way of just leveling everything, not just now, but leveling it forever in the future so that you stop friction appearing. Because you can guarantee with this thing, if we didn't do ambient attribution, you would just make a new form of friction. The
Maybe another
friction,
Pharaoh. Yeah.
the friction is the curse of the natural world, I suppose. Like you can't do anything. You can't. I said earlier that look, the friction appeared because of shortcomings in the protocols. That's not to say that the protocols were bad or wrong. It's just that there is no way that you can make a protocol that does something like the internet and not have some shortcoming. It's a trade-off thing. You're doing something very unnatural. Instant communication is a very advanced thing. There are trade-offs. And so anytime the smallest amount of friction pops up in a new technological area, it will become rapidly amplified into pharaohs because people will clump to it. They'll come in like white blood cells, be like, oh, we've got this thing, release the placelets, okay, blah, 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 heal the thing, knit the bone, blah, blah. But ambient attribution makes sure that the tiniest bit of stuff just gracefully, perfectly damped is dissolved again back out. And there will be friction that comes up here and there, and the ambient attribution will just smooth it all the time. That's kind of what it feels like is needed, which is more. That's more than just a payment system. Like that's quite fundamental to the ongoing stability of the system that goes beyond just making sure people get rewarded. It's like the anti cancer. It's like an anti cancer system that goes around wiping out cancer cells as soon as they pop up.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like
It makes. I'm absolutely in the same line. I can.
Hard to explain though, right? Hard to say.
Yeah. Here's. I like my analogies, but the reason there's no supreme being on the earth right now, despite Darwinism, is because Darwinism is completely distributed. Local effects, local changes. You can think about genes being, looking for their own survival. If they don't survive, boom, it's a better one.
Right.
So
Are you
on.
saying that
And
there's
that is the
something
goal.
natural about pharaohs always fall, but they cause a hell of a lot of pain while they're there, and a new one always comes up?
Yes, yes,
Right. But there's
and
something about the nature of the world that means that they always eventually fall, just like these pharaohs will fall too. But
because of the decision making process, if you ever put the decision making process into an ever dwindling group of people's minds, they're going to make mistakes and is going to fracture.
is that true of an AI though?
Good question. Well asked.
Could you make an eternal pharaoh that stayed as a pharaoh with twisted rules?
I think you'd probably want to organize it such that there were no clumping effects
No,
that
that's not.
inevitably led.
That's missed the question.
Mm.
These guys don't want to make eternal fairness. These guys want to make a light cone.
Yeah.
Could you make a light cone AI that was eternal,
Well,
that outlived all the
you could
humans?
you could argue that we already have one in DNA. Um, let me.
That's not helping. I don't feel like that's.
DNA is capable of holding information for hundreds of millions of years. But there's no centralized DNA god.
Yeah.
How did that happen? It happened because there was trillions of decisions at each point. It's like, well, where there's that gene, does that work? Yeah, okay, well, and
I feel like you
evolution
are
does its
you
thing.
dodging my question.
No, I'm not. I'm trying to. I'm trying to explain why pharaohs are not pharaohs are not necessarily inevitable. If there is a distribution enough that no one person can have a clumping effect.
My question is, can you make a clumped AI that reigns supreme eternally? Can you make, within these machines that they're building here, a light cone capturing device that favors not fairness, that favors greed?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay,
Sure.
so what happens if they make that?
Then, well, we'll be well dead by that because it's going to take a long time, but it's not good.
Is it going to take a long time, buddy? I don't think so, actually.
Well,
Look at that. Do you
if
know how long
we,
that would normally take to make?
well, that's the you're talking about the AI singularities, like the first person to make AGI.
No, I think
owns
the
everything.
singularity is a mental cop out. Like it's a it's basically a glorified way of saying, throwing your hands up and saying, I don't know. But the sun still, all the typical things still keep on ticking over. The seasons, the sun, the rain. Humans will be fucking things up. It'll just keep on being the same, but now there'll be this AI there. I don't actually know what the point of my posture is there. It's like,
Well, if we wind it back about attribution, attribution is, I think, as far as I can see, doesn't have clumping effects.
no, yeah. So that's really my what I'm badly trying to get at is that you can make a very powerful AI, perhaps an ultimately intelligent AI, that didn't give a hoot about fairness. And so if we fail to gain traction for this model with fairness in it, it might not ever happen. Like if so fairness has been around as a problem since fucking Adam was a cowboy, so to speak. If we don't win the AI race with fairness inserted in it, then fairness will never surface again.
Yes, I think the what's happening now multiplies clumping.
It's gonna be like the ultimate clump.
Yeah, and that's why we're seeing, sums like 500 billion being thrown around.
So yeah,
That's
so I
quite
think
a
I
lot of
can
money.
say what I've been trying to get at, the pimple I've been trying to pop.
Mm-hmm.
This is the clump to end all clumps. Is
Yeah.
it true then? Well, I mean, we feel that if we don't get decentralized AI, decentralized last app, with ambient attribution in there to have this like cure for cancer type of like clump killing, it's like a anti-clotting thing in the blood, like an a thing that makes sure that clumping doesn't occur. So you got like something that removes all clumps versus something that puts all clumps in one place, like the ultimate clump. Like the power of this clump works because it will wipe out every other clump. Like every other piece of friction will be gone except for this piece of friction, which will be the biggest piece of friction you ever did see. So this weird duality pops up ahead of us. The mother of all clumps versus the anti-clumping system. And my point is, if we fail to get it operational now in AI, there won't be another chance for it. Ambient attribution, like, it requires AI to work, and if it's not built into the dominant AI on the planet, it will never survive. And I think the world would be bad if there was like one big clump, because it'd be like being born under the reign of the pharaohs, and you're like, well, son.
Exactly. See you in 8,000 years.
But that's nearly at my point. That feels like, first of all, it's pretty audacious to say, hey, let's take that on. You know, that's fine. Every empire has fallen, and at some point, someone in the distance was like, is that Rome? Should we take that on? And then eventually someone was like, yeah, mate, fuck it. Let's go, right? And so they eventually, right? But the point I'm trying to make, and I'm so sorry it took so long. If we see it as existential for all of humanity, that humanity's last app be fair and decentralized, then so too will other people. That's my point.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And so the sooner we can actually get a prototype system up that is a solution, and then we can point at the mother of all clumps and be like, fellas, if we don't fucking do this, like, this thing's gonna fucking set the sun on us, and that'll be it.
I have confidence.
Right?
I have confidence in
this clump makes our anti-clump even better. It's not. Give me just a 30-second window to be super fucking messy.
Yeah.
Without this, if we had no mother clump, and somehow or other AI had come out of a lab and blah, 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 and we had the ambient attribution version and we had all that, everyone would be like, okay, that's cool. If we have like impending doom versus here's our system, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, but here's our system, sign up here, pay money here. Like, just all I'm trying to indicate with that is like, place yourself and your assets in this corner if you support the decentralized version. Keep paying your ChatGPT Pro plus whatever fucking own your life subscription if you support the mother of all clumps. Because of this and the growth of it, because it's proven to be such a friction, like, this is the mother of all friction capture devices, right? And it's going to be proven friction reduction at the price of voila. This will force the adoption of the alternate at a rate comparable to its own reach. it's gonna be like a gun. Like, this thing is gonna fucking shoot us, like, power us in a way that on our own we could not, provided we brace against it like the human cannonball and we hold a good, strong position. This thing will cause us to have explosive growth. That is my point.
I agree. The thing here is, has been shown with the likes of Windows versus Linux, blockchain versus fiat. There is a substantial parish of people who think, actually, no, I don't want to be monopolized. Most won't even think about it. And as this clumps up and up, maybe there's one AI that you eventually go to and so on. But the interesting thing is attribution feels, and this is a very poorly formed argument, but it feels a bit like a virus against that. By which
the two things are antimatter and matter.
Yeah.
And we hadn't seen it like that before. We were just like, oh my God, this thing. Oh, we got this cool thing that's, ambient attribution. But actually, they are of the same. It's either a choice for us or them. There isn't any other positions on the board, right?
Yeah. And I'm already seeing the delineation between the two armies, as it were, coming up. Sometimes I talk to.
It's almost like the reason why open source was, let's just call it difficult, is because it didn't have a clear enemy. It didn't have a clear enemy because I could walk outside and do some shit that didn't need software. Yeah. I could, right? When this comes online, it's going to be the only way to interact with technology, full stop. Not just like your Facebook, but your TV, your car, your government, your fucking everything, your schooling, your child, your health, all of it is going to be there. And so suddenly, like, most people don't care about open source, closed source, whatever, because they're not under any pressure to choose. As soon as you're like, your whole life is going to be run by closed source, or it's going to be run by open source. Which one do you want? At that point, people have a fucking opinion. I can promise you that.
Yeah. Much like democracy versus autocracy.
Yeah, it's sort of not a problem until autocracy is being forced upon you and you have to choose. When everything's working and the sun is shining and you really don't care, you're like,
yeah.
Maybe it's good, maybe it's not.
Overlord is making my life happy. All good.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but as soon as the choice becomes apparent, or the first little fucking kink in the road where you're like, hang on a minute, you'll get like rebel type of factions form. It'll be like the Galactic Empire
and the Rebel Alliance.
And the Rebel Alliance, right? Like, that's how it's going to shape up. And the Rebel Alliance was a bunch of disbanded hooligans who even fought amongst themselves. But there's an effect that happens in the world when a powerful enemy appears, is that an enemy of my enemy is my friend. There's some extra bits that go on that quote, I think.
That's quite powerful.
Enemy of an enemy is my friend when the enemy is bigger than all of us combined, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's bigger than all of us. And so all of us people who are like, I want freedom, I want vegan, I want fucking... All of us people with non-compatible attitudes, when the Galactic Empire unfurls, we will be friends. And so what am I trying to say? I'm like, first of all, we got a bit of a desperate fucking job ahead of us because we're like, fuck, did we really just plonk our flag down in this location? And we're like, okay, turns out we did. But
Yeah.
second of all, if we get that flag right, and I believe we can, we will get an artificially induced kick in terms of adoption because it'll be the anti chat GPT.
That's interesting, isn't it? Would democracy ever existed without autocracy?
Would it? Right? You wouldn't start with it.
No.
You just wouldn't. There's too many factors pointing towards towards dictatorship being the way it starts.
Well,
Right?
the thing is, dictatorship gets shit done, but the bigger it gets, the more it does the wrong shit. And people say, "You're now telling me to do that? I don't want to do that."
Right. So democracy, and I don't even agree that democracy is the best thing. I just think it's better than
Yeah, it's
dictatorship.
The worst of all solutions of all the other options. Yeah.
Yeah. So I believe I've said my piece, and it is.
I believe I understand what your piece is, and I wholeheartedly support it.
Right. So that's kind of the expression of the ill feeling I get because I'm like looking at the stuff we got, looking at me like debugging logs, and being like, is that what takes that on? And I kind of I guess I have to just have some faith and believe it. But
I think so, and ideas are remarkably quick to spread and difficult to kill. And I do think if anyone was to watch this video in the future, there will be a subset of people who absolutely get it. It's like, no, I don't want, one group of people with Mr. Bezos or whatever at the top.
Yeah,
don't
but
want that.
That's the same as dictators, right? Like, there's a lot of people living under dictatorships that are like, nah, it's fine. Some of them even think they've got it better than in democracy, and some of them are right too. Some of them are right,
and it usually goes badly eventually, but it takes a lot of time.
Eventually, right? But most people kind of don't care. But there are a few people that are like, I'm gonna die for this, and then there's a bunch of people who are like, I just don't want to die. Yeah. So,
in terms of getting the idea out there, I think there is a group of people, parish people, that would get this.
Okay, so the model of the hypercomputer, it's not that I think it's right. I think that we don't have any other options. It seems to do what we want. We must run with it. There isn't a competing idea. Usually I have another idea about something.
Yeah.
Now, right? Now is when I'm like,
without additional information. I think we've kicked this dead donkey.
Dead donkey. Yeah. Yeah. Normally by now, I would have come up with a, hey buddy, this other thing. But this feels like, yeah, it's kind of messy. But everything was, right? Because no matter what you do with a substrate or no matter what you make in a substrate, you cannot help but make friction forming irregularities within it. And that is why you need a friction remover like ambient attribution, because otherwise frictions get embellished upon, fortresses made around them, capture of the
crystallized friction. And once they're crystallized,
really, and then eventually the fucking artery clogs and everyone dies, and it's like, oh well. But that's actually the essence of why ambient attribution is required, because no matter what design I make, it will have, we make, because we have made it together. No matter what design we make, it will have friction points in it, undeniably. even with the best AIs grinding on it daily, it will
Yeah, but
always have
the
friction.
thing is with ambient attribution and forking, merging, all that kind of good stuff. Um, if a clump arises, there are antibodies that are going to
Yeah.
get
So
in there.
what is? I wish we had some more metaphors for that type of system, right? It's like saying
Mm,
that this friction smoother is like anti-cancer, antibodies, or like
yeah,
it's
immune
saying that
system.
all
Yeah,
forms of technology create these weird pockets of like where the imperfections that seem unavoidable. Like it just seems to be the nature of space and the universe that whenever you build an information system, you end up with some kind of weird pocket or pockets. And
mm,
then things form around it to fix it, and now you've got a new problem, eventually leading to the collapse of the old system and causing a new, grand and glorious and flawless star system to be formed. And then the
mm.
clumps form in that, and so on and so forth. But that's just nature. We have intelligence that can keep smoothing, smoothing, smoothing.
Yeah, I
Just
agree.
wish we had more. Um, these ideas, they feel novel and not well trodden, right? So I think we need to find a way around that using the hypercomputer to solidify our argument, I guess, or solidify our knowledge.
And one of the useful things is we've got a host to defect with our virus idea.
That
Um,
thing, they made it for us.
Look at the size of that. Are those in the bottom left-hand corner? Are those cranes?
Nah, they look like
What is that? If that is like a construction crane,
no, it's not a crane. It's see how the water, see how the thing go. I think this might be the cooling pool.
okay. Oh
Like I
yeah,
think they're gonna fill it with water, right?
yeah. Oh yeah, because um, you imagine being the designer on this one. You know, I've done a couple data centers, and they're not easy because it's a steady state problem versus heat and
Yeah.
cooling. I mean, data centers are more about plumbing than they are about IT.
That must be for water, right? Because why else would you make this pit?
You need somewhere to just dump all your heat into.
Right.
But an evaporation pool, possibly. That'd be one way of getting rid of the heat.
And then there's all these
Interesting.
things that look like, what are they? Are they batteries?
No, those look like standby generators.
Generators.
I don't know if you zoom in, maybe
I, I
see
think that's
there
all
might
I.
be AC, but I think the AC is the bits that look like the little copper
I'm at
on the
500%.
sides.
I can't. Ooh, turns
Oof.
out I can zoom in a bit more. Wow. Okay.
So I reckon that bank along the side, I think, is probably the standby jennies. Oh, there they are. Uh,
These ones.
oh no, they don't look like jennies at all.
No, they look like batteries. Don't you think?
They do a bit.
Right?
Is that like the mother of all UPSs?
Maybe. Mm,
Oh, that's interesting.
right?
So where are all the AC? Where's all the cooling?
Maybe that's AC. All that. Black's a
Is
good
there?
way to radiate. I can't zoom
If
in
you
anymore. That's all I got.
ah, so along the side, right? Take any one of these squares along the side. I think that is heat extraction units of some sort.
These things.
No, if the top right square on the side, those things that are racked all the way along the edge. That's where you want, because energy distribution you can have further away, but heat distribution you need quite close. So I
Why?
think
Why do you need it close?
um, because it's much more difficult to distribute heat or to move heat from one place to another than it is
But if it
to
was
move
water, if it
DC.
was all water,
Oh, it will be all water, yeah, for sure.
so what does the locality matter if you can dump it into this huge ass cooling pond?
Just because moving water takes more energy than moving electricity. So
Fair point.
electricity tends to be further away.
Fair point.
So they could that would be, I guess, water cooling dumped into that big heat sink. There's nothing on the rooftops, which is really interesting. So they're definitely not going for air cooling. This looks like a desert of some sort, so
Yeah,
I'm guessing
Texas
air cooling
desert.
is not going to be a problem.
That looks like fire suppressant.
Yep, yep, it does. Or gas suppressant, one of the two. Oh yes, fire.
Nah, that'll be
fire
foam, eh? That'll be foam. You just
No, it could be argon. But those don't look like.
what
gas
is it?
compressors.
Halon? Was it Halon that they used to?
Oh, halon is nasty. I think that's banned now.
Oh, is it? Oh,
Oh, it's real nasty. Halon. Argon just kills you. Halon, you get a whiff of it and you get cancer in 6 months.
yeah.
It makes cleanup much harder. Look at the size of that thing. I'm feeling like approaching the Death Star here.
That's what the Empire looks like. So I guess we just
That's a great
found
image.
ourselves an enemy in a
Yeah.
place where we weren't really looking for a fight, but they are gonna propel us like a gun if we land this thing right. Because how many other people would have looked at Dev Day and not got wiped out?
Oh, there's a lot of people either thanking the God above that they checked out and got an exit.
Their
before
time
now,
is coming.
and there's a whole bunch of people who are weeping.
Their time is coming. Yeah.
Is
Anyway,
that an ISO container? Yeah, that was just for scale. That was an ISO container. Jesus wept. Look at the size.
that looks like a 40-footer.
Yeah, it does. Bloody hell. The size of
The
it.
mind boggles, huh? AI.
That's Death Star. And this is not the only one.
Mm-mm. Okay,
Right.
but what now?
Okay. I don't know. I think we've just picked the fight with Empire.
Yeah, thanks for listening. I needed to get that out. That allows me to clarify all the ill feelings I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so this is a flow diagram that was built while we were chatting.
Yeah.
I'll run you through it quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
You come in on a browser, you want to talk to the hypercomputer. It checks if you're authed. If you're not authed, what I'm gonna do is make you land on an intro computer where you land and it's like, hey, how you doing? Hey, what can I help you with? Oops, sorry, you need an account for that. Or yeah, you're logged in, so okay, here you go. The router is a gateway computer that is one of those maintenance computers. It's like the BIOS. It sort of like turns on hardware and pipes requests around. You never ever talk to it. It's a conventional system made to manage it's like the sympathetic nervous system in a way. It's like reflexes.
Yeah.
It just fires on raw hardware.
Yeah.
Then it says, well, you wanted to talk to this agent. Do I have a machine already running for it? If I do, then all I do is I just get the address of the machine, and then I send the request for the browser to that machine, and then just off it goes. Right now, you're talking to codecs using the CLI in the browser that I've shown you before, and then you're doing your thing. If there wasn't a machine,
And the machine.
make the machine, right? So it writes it to the model I've chosen is that everything goes via the NFS file system. So if you want a machine, you write it to disk, and there's something else that reads from disk, was triggered by disk, to always try and make the hardware match what's on disk. So the router kicks the execution manager, just says, hey, something changed. I might merge router and execution manager. They kind of feel like they could be the same thing, but whatever. The executor boots a host and then tells it to load the codecs agent. There are other agents that it could load.
Mm-hmm. Oh, where's it go?
I was there. Where did you go?
You're the right, same one.
I was. That is rude, isn't it?
Oh, there it is.
And then it sort of writes the machine ID back to disk and then says, hey, router, this is the address of the machine, the IP address of the machine. Make the DNS name that you just gave me resolve to that. Play the request, and now you're away. And that's fucking it. But each one of these is a different computer. That's what's sort of a different piece of infrastructure, which is hard because I'm like having to correlate logs. I'm like, what happened in Clerk? Okay. What happened in the router? All right. What happened in the exec thing? Okay. What happened in the machine, it's the host, okay, and what happened in the agent, okay, what happened in codecs, like, so it's
yeah, I see it. The overall diagram here seems reasonable.
Oh, you should have seen it before, though. I mean, like, yeah, like this is like version fucking 3. It's pretty streamlined. But I think this is the minimum inescapable complexity of the model of agent computers.
It seems reasonable because basically what you want to do is to get to that point where you've got machine ID.
I guess I want to also call into question the model of agentic or agents. I cannot fault it. It seems to solve all the problems I know of, but computing being a fickle thing, maybe there's some use cases that aren't supported by this, and I'd love to know what those are. But yeah, anyway, works for us, but that's sort of a bit of a worry. I'm like, if you find a hammer that looks like it can hit any nail, there's probably something wrong with, well, either the hammer or the nails, or you haven't found enough nails or something.
Agents are going to be necessary up to the point where there's a perfect AGI.
You keep saying it. I don't think there is such a thing. I think that it's made of agents, no matter what. Like I think that AGI is a cop out. It's gonna be made of something. It's gonna have subcomponents. It's gonna have bits and pieces inside. It won't just be black box magic.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's what does it expose? Does it expose the internal routing that
absolutely
does?
No, absolutely, it exposes these things because it will always have a million tasks. Each one of us will generate new tasks for it. It will have its own tasks.
Yeah,
what we're talking about in agents is a task management system.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is agentic is always going to be a thing.
Yep. I think you're right.
The the kind of reductio as saying is, if you were to get a single amorphous brain that perfectly produces something, then that my previous statement is wrong. But I don't think we're going to get there because, as you say, a car is actually a number of assemblies.
Yep. And it's always going to be that way.
Yeah.
All right.
Right, man. Okay, I need to go.
All right, buddy. I'll stop
That was
recording.
that was a useful one.